Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So quick disclaimer, there are people walking around the house doing housework shit. My parents are renovating their home, so if you hear any kinds of like weird noises or whatever, I'm sure you don't care about it, but those of you who will give a fuck, you know why it's happening. But anyway, in this video we're talking about Mercury in Gemini, Mercury in Gemini. And we're talking about Mercury in Gemini, period. Once again, I really like talking about the air signs because I have all of them in my fucking chart, every single one. All the air signs that you can think of, I have them in my chart. So naturally, I am a lot more wiser with these energies, which is why I like talking about them a lot more. And today I am gifted with the ability to talk about Mercury in Gemini, right? It's when people like walking up and down here, because this is basically the only room with this perfect lighting. Every other room is either occupied or the lighting is trash as fuck. So this is the only room that like, it's perfect. And my room, but my room is like weird or whatever. And speaking of talking all over the place, because I'm literally being all over the fucking place, Mercury and Gemini people are all over the place with their thoughts, right? But now let's talk about Mercury and what is Gemini and what is Mercury and all of these things. So we have Mercury, right? And here's the thing, Gemini is actually ruled by Mercury. So all of Mercury's characteristics are basically all of Gemini's characteristics. So Mercury is the planet of communication. It's the planet of dissecting information. Mercury is all about transferring and like processing information, but also giving information. You know what I'm saying? That's Mercury's job. Mercury in the birth chart is how we dissect our information and how we communicate and give out information into the world or to people, or you know what I'm saying, to ourselves. How do we advise ourselves? You know what I'm saying? That's Mercury. It's anything that has to do with receiving a message or giving a message. That is Mercury. That's what Mercury does. And then we have Gemini, right, who is an air sign. Gemini is ruled by the third house, right, which is the house of familiarity, your neighborhoods, you know, people that you grew up with, familiar faces and familiar names. That is all about Gemini. Short distance travels, you know. It's the difference between traveling overseas, but also it's the difference between traveling within your country or even within like your province or your town. That's Gemini. And then Sagittarius, which would be the opposite of that energy, which would be traveling overseas, or you know what I'm saying, going to space. Or maybe going to space is more of an Aquarius travel, but it's still, you know, it's still travel, you know what I'm saying, whatever. But yeah, that's the Gemini energy. It's ruled by the third house, which is the house of familiarity, your friends, you know, your school, your neighborhood, groceries, a park, local park, you know, cars and shit, trucks, you know, things that deliver from one province to another, just that kind of shit, you know, even technology to an extent, because that's how we communicate with each other. Like if I send you a text, I'm basically sending you a message, which is basically Mercury, which is basically Gemini. And that's Gemini. So if you put the two together, I mean, fucking Mercury is ecstatic to be here. Mercury does exactly what Mercury wants to do. But we have to also consider that Mercury has two different energetic polar shifts, right? Just like we have a masculine way of expressing ourselves, and then we have a feminine way of expressing ourselves. So Gemini is the masculine expression of Mercury. You know, this is why Geminis will, instead of internalizing their thoughts, which a lot of Virgos will do, Geminis will externalize their thoughts, you know what I'm saying? And because they're also an air sign and they are fluid and mutable, they know how to relate and know how to shapeshift themselves into morphing into whatever space or environment they are in, because they are the planet, or the third house is also about your environment, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, Geminis, because they're mutable, they know how to like morph and shapeshift themselves in order to kind of like relate to whatever environment that they're in, whether it be a person, place, or a thing. You know, they know how to like yeah, just morph themselves into becoming whatever energy, or be like thinking the same way, or knowing what someone else is thinking, just based on specific things like body movement and like, I don't know, how your eyes did this weird thing, or how your lips twitched when you said something. You know what I'm saying? Just different things like that. So, you know, and even with lingos, like if you think about like each country, each state has their own, you know, lingo. There's a different way of communicating in each town. Like, I know in Jersey, our lingo, for example, if I want to say, can I have a cigarette in South Africa, in Johannesburg, the lingo of Johannesburg is skeef kwai. That just basically means pastel kwai, or can I bum you a cigarette, something like that, you know. So if I'm from Germany and I'm coming to South Africa and I'm busy hearing people say skeef kwai, then I'm just like, what the fuck is that? But a Gemini, they'll be able to pick that up quickly and be like, okay, they said skeef kwai, and then this person gave that person a cigarette. So that clearly must mean that that person asked for a cigarette. So when I want a cigarette, I know to say skeef kwai. That type of thing. Anyway, Geminis are smart because of that reason, because they're super quick with processing information, and they're super quick with analyzing and observing a situation and a person and whatever it is that they have to analyze and process. And that's how they can like that's how they're smart, and that's how they can somewhat be ahead of people, or even be 10 times, like in terms of mental processing things and like playing chess in situations with people and making friends and, you know, getting what they want. They're ahead because they already know how to size people up just by how you think, just by how you say things, just by who your friends are. They already know that, okay, you hang out with these people, this is how you guys speak, this is what you guys are into, so I know how to morph myself and morph how I speak in such a way that you will be so convinced that I also am part of you, and I'm also doing the exact same things that you guys do. You know what I'm saying? They know how to really camouflage themselves just based on the information that they're processing from the external world. The thing with immutable signs, especially Sagittarius and Pisces and Gemini, is that they are all over the place. Now, as much as, Mercury likes to be in Gemini, because it's homey and it actually gets to exude itself the way it wants to in terms of thinking and having a million thoughts at once and having different kinds of ideas that you can't even stay put, you know. Mercury's like, okay, cool, I can work with this. The negative parts of this is overly thinking about things, and it is overly like hypochondriac and being like ADHD type of thing. Gemini Mercury's, I would feel like also suffer from that, because it could be a situation where, you know, Mercury processes your feelings. For example, like if I'm feeling bad, Mercury is gonna help me think about like the best solutions to do, or what I should like logically do about it, or what I should, you know what I'm saying? Just Mercury will help us think about what our moves should be in order to somehow rationalize our feelings, or somehow, I don't know, protect our feelings even more, right? So with Gemini here, you can have a million bunch of ideas and a million bunch of like conclusions to something, right? And it's a situation where one thought leads to another thought, and then that leads to sub thoughts, and those other thoughts will lead to other sub thoughts, and then those, you know what I'm saying? So it's like this constant thing where it's like, and even just waking up in the morning, and I notice myself, just the first thing your brain does is think. It's thinking, thoughts just rushing in, just you can't even, like, it's not even, because you know sometimes it's like you wake up, but then there's that moment in limbo where you're not fully awake, but you're also not fully in the dream world. See that state, that limbo state, doesn't even matter, you still thinking there. You're like, the second your body comes back into this consciousness, you're thinking and it's even the same when you're like about to fall asleep. You know, that's why a lot of Gemini energy, not even just Mercury and Gemini energy, before they sleep, they need to somehow either be watching a movie, and that's how they fall asleep, because their brain is like still processing. So then like just hearing people talk kind of, it calms the mind down. It's really real. It's such a weird thing, bro. Gemini energy is very weird. It's like you're able to, like when you listen to things, or not, I wouldn't even say music, but it could be music, especially when you start listening to music, that's what calms you down. And it's like surprising when you start, it's like, I think it has to do with a focus. You know, I think the Gemini energy is used better when we can focus all those ideas into just one specific point. Like for example, if you are Gemini and you are interested in you know, being a musician, right? You can have, it's like better to use the Gemini energy to think of all these thoughts and put all those thoughts to use in order to help you becoming a musician. Now, the Gemini energy will be at its downfall when there is no purpose in your thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's no point to thinking about a specific thing. Like, for example, if I'm just at home, if I have no goals in my life, or if I'm just kind of someone that's just going with the flow of life, not really putting into action, or maybe not action, but if I don't have like, I know, a reason to live, like a will to live, and I'm just flowing with the world, then that's when my thoughts are like bound to control me, and that's when I start becoming like way too go with the flow, and I just give my life, and you just give my life to the wind, you know, because I have no purpose and I have no energy to focus all those thoughts in. But it's a lot better if you use the Gemini energy, as I said, if you, for example, want to make a sandwich, or, you know, just anything. If you want to, I don't know, buy clothes, then you can think of all these specific things and direct all those thoughts into one specific point or one specific goal. That type of thing. I think that's when the Gemini energy is used at its best, and that's when it can be at its best. Because one thing about Gemini energy, and one thing about Mercury energy, really, like, because it's so fast, and that's another thing with that just made me think of this, like, with Gemini energy, because everything is so quick, and Mercury is just so fucking quick, right? It's a thing of you can lose interest quickly, even in conversations, bruh. I mean, it's one thing to always have a comeback because you always know what to say because you have so much to say, you know, but it's also a thing of, because there's so much to say, you could also lose interest and not want to say anything at all. And then this is when you get those quiet Geminis who know, like, when they start talking, they just go everywhere and anywhere, and they miss a point. And that's also another thing with Gemini energy, is missing a point sometimes when you talk. Hopefully you have some kind of like Cancer, because I mean that Cancer energy can help you, like, I guess, focalize and like have a specific point on how much thoughts to put into a specific idea, or even Capricorn energy or Scorpio energy. But yeah, Scorpio and Gemini, oh damn. Or like maybe not Libra energy, because that's a lot of air. But if you have like let me say earth sign, even Taurus, at least you will have some kind of stability, and you know how much ideas to add into that very one point, as I say. And that's really just gonna be a theme, like, because I'm a Gemini moon, as I've said, with my fucking moon conjuncting Jupiter, so I have all the thoughts in the world, right? But I'm learning to use these thoughts and these ideas to add on good ideas into what I already have going on, and improve the ideas that I already had to make those specific ideas better. You know what I'm saying? But as I said, the downfall to it is having so many ideas that you get restless, and then you start thinking, fuck, how is this gonna work? How is this gonna work? Because every time I try to do something, then I always end up thinking of something better, and then I think of something better than that idea, and then it's like I never really get to finish my ideas anyway. So then I just sit here and I'm just like already over that idea. Then you just completely forget that you had that idea, because then you have a whole bunch of new ideas that you want to accomplish. As I said, completely forgetting about the fact that you had these ideas, right? And now thinking about these like this new fresh pair of ideas, right? Now you're doing the exact same, like, that's the downfall. You can do the exact same thing as you did with these ideas, and you have all these ideas and you want to do these things, but you never really get the time because you keep thinking of other ideas that can help that particular idea, and it's just like madness. Just drive yourself fucking mad, bruv. Mad. Right. Also, the downfall is, I've noticed with a lot of Gemini Mercury, especially if they Gemini Mercury is conjuncting Mars and Mercury, I mean Mars and Gemini, very like disrespectful, just so disrespectful. Because here's the thing with Gemini energy, right? Because it's air, it's both masculine and feminine. That's the thing with Gemini energy. It's masculine thinking, like the Gemini and Mercury people can think like a man and think like a woman. They know how to like shift out their energies to like support. They know how to like shift out the energies to think like a dude and also think like a shorty. You know what I'm saying? And that's the cool. Yeah, bye. And that's, these dudes just walking around. But that's the thing with the Gemini energy, right? So they know how to, and because it's mutable, it's androgynous, right? So they know how to blend in with anybody, and they know how to quickly pick up the lingo or the communication of that particular person, right? And because they can camouflage, also because they have that relatability, same as Libra, and they like being liked, or they know how to be liked, and they know what to say to be like or get attention, they can be liars. Geminis can be liars because they also have that sextile with Leo, and Leos are liars too, and so are Libras, and so are Scorpios, and so are Pisces, and Cancers. Yeah, and that's what Geminis can do. They'll lie for no reason. I think sometimes it's not even for no reason. It's really just to relate and to have a conversation with someone, or just to have something to say. That's how bad it is. Just the thing of wanting to communicate and wanting to be involved and wanting to kind of understand and even process information. There doesn't even have to be a point with that. And that's the thing with Gemini energy, that there doesn't have to be an intention in lying. They could just lie because they want to have a good conversation with you. Like, for example, I had a friend who's a Taurus. Whatever. I have a friend who's a Taurus sun with a Gemini Mercury conjuncting her Gemini Mars, right? And I mean Gemini moon. So she has a Gemini moon and Mercury and Mars, right? So, and I mean, I can relate to this because I'm a Gemini moon, right? But anyway, how it is that sometimes you can, for example, meet a person that you've never known. Let's say you had like a little chillers party, you know, house party, whatever, just vibes, you know, and you're meeting new people, right? Now, let's say you want to obviously start a conversation with them, right? So, as a Gemini Mercury, you start a conversation with them, right? Say, hey, what's up? How are you? I'm good. How are you? Are you enjoying your party? Yeah, I'm having a good time. How about you? I mean, it's okay. I think ABC, you know what I'm saying? Then oh my God, then you start like formulating this conversation with them, right? So now as a Gemini Mercury, you are already observing what they're saying, but you're also kind of processing the kind of person they are, right? So based on the things that they tell you they're interested in, you as a Gemini Mercury, you somewhat know a little bit about that information, or maybe you know quite a bit about that information, but you may not know the whole encompassing information about what that person is talking about, right? But because you're so good with talking, and you're so good with words, and you're so good at convincing people, especially if your moon is in like Scorpio, if your moon is in fucking Cancer, if your moon is in Pisces, also all the water signs, if your moon is in Virgo or Capricorn, not Taurus, if your moon is in Leo, oh my God, if your moon is in Leo, if your moon is in, not Sagittarius though, not Aries, yeah, so those moon signs, if you have those moon signs, then that makes you a lot more like, you know how to really convince people that you know exactly what it is that you're saying. Like, you know how to make someone really believe that they are speaking to someone who has gone through the exact same things that they have, and they're speaking to someone that thinks the exact same or similar to what they think, and that's not true. That's not true. But you as a Gemini Mercury, you know, you have that gift of gab, and you really know how to convince people that that you understand exactly what they're saying, right? And that's how you want to make people feel, because it's essentially gaining information. So now you know, like, if you ever encounter people who talk like that or have that kind of information, then you know how to process that situation, and you know how to talk to those people because because you've already spoken to this person and they've told you everything. So now in this next conversation, you're going to take everything she said, they said, and then use it in that conversation. You see, it's smart. It's just fucking genius, you Gemini sneaky people, you. That's just the thing, you know, you're just like taking wisdom, or not wisdom, but knowledge from this source, and then you know how to apply it to other situations that will also make you look smarter, or make you look interesting, or just for you to have a simple conversation with people and hang out with them, so that they can invite you over to their homes, and then you can make new friends or new acquaintances, and then, you know, that's how you get to know everybody in that particular area. And that's the thing with Mercury and Geminis, is that no matter where they go, they will somehow know how to quickly familiarize themselves with the different vibes and the different people of whatever environment they're involved in, you know, and they know how to quickly learn about these specific vibes, and they know how to quickly they know how to like orchestrate themselves, and know how to talk and use whatever vocabulary is necessary in order to blend in with the crowd, knowing damn well, and it's first of all knowing damn well that they are not like that, especially if they have a Scorpio moon or a Capricorn moon or a Pisces moon, and especially if they have like a water moon, like maybe not Scorpio moon, like let's say a Cancer, let's just say a Pisces moon. If they have like a Pisces moon with a Gemini Mercury, these are the type of people that may sometimes forget that they aren't necessarily part of that crowd, or like they're not from that. Like for example, it can get tricky with situations like this where, you know, because you're Gemini Mercury and you're so easily adaptable to situations and adaptable to how people talk, and you know how to, you know, talk the way other people talk, it can be difficult for you to get out of that situation, because sometimes like you will be in that environment for a long time, or whatever period of like amount of time you've been there for, and let's say you really genuinely love those vibes, you know, you like those people, you like being around those people, and you like the vibe that they give out, you know, it's cool. So sometimes you may take so much of that energy and apply it to yourself, right? Because once again, you're so easily changeable, so you can literally become, that's why I say, especially if you have a moon in Pisces, you can actually become like the replica of whatever environment that you are. And then when you leave that environment, it's difficult for you to like differentiate, wait, was this me? Is this me? Is this who I've chosen to be? Or am I still just in that mode? Am I still in that character mode? For example, when I always lived in this particular area, right? But when I moved to Johannesburg, like CBD Johannesburg, right, for school and stuff, right? And I mean, it's gonna be granted because you, as people, we are naturally adapting to whatever environment that we are. But as I said, with the Gemini energy, it's a lot quicker, right? Because you really want to quickly associate yourself with environments that you are in, and you want to connect with them, and you want to really be them, so you can relate with that, so that you can be wise and knowledgeable about like how to get from point A to point B. You know how to talk to, you know, you want that, like especially as a Gemini Mercury, you want to be able to know how, like you have a homie that can hook you up with A, B, C, D, and you have a homie that if I just go to this party, then I can network with these, you know what I'm saying, that type of thing. But for damn, I lost my point. I lost my point. What was I saying? That's another thing with Gemini Mercury, is losing the point. Oh yeah, I was saying everybody wants to feel that way, you know, but sometimes it's like other people can move back to wherever hometown they grew up in, and they won't really lose that sense of like roots. Like they won't lose, okay, this is where I come from, this is who I, like for example, like in South Africa, there's different cultures and different languages, right? So there's Xhosa people, Zulu people, Tswana, Sesotho, Venda, Tsonga, wherever, you know. So obviously you grew up, for example, if I'm a Zulu person, I'm not Zulu, I'm whatever, okay, let's just say I'm Xhosa, right? Because I am Xhosa, my mom's Xhosa and I identify with Xhosa. So let's say I'm a Xhosa person, but I didn't grow up in like Maplazini and, you know, the hometowns. But let's just say I did, right? Let's just say I grew up not that, I think Natal, no, let's just say I'm Zulu. And let's just say I'm Zulu and I grew up, Emakaya is in Natal, Zulu Natal, right? So obviously I've planted roots in there, so I know how to speak Zulu, right? Yeah, I'm fired, you know. You know, that type of thing. I know how to speak Zulu. My Zulu is immaculate. I have family Zulu. That's it, right? So now let's say I moved to Johannesburg, right? Obviously, I haven't forgotten Zulu because Zulu is my culture. That's how I speak. I'm very familiar with that language. I'm very familiar with the culture because it is my culture and because I represent that culture. And also another thing, I'm talking so fast because Mercury and Gemini talk really, 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 really fast, okay? Anyway, and I know you guys are connecting with me. I feel so home right now. That's why I say I love talking about Gemini energy, because like I am a Gemini moon, bitch, and I know this. Anyway, so let's just say I went back to, so I come from KwaZulu and I want to get a job, or I want to start my life in Johannesburg, right? Now, mind you guys, Johannesburg and KwaZulu-Natal are very different for all my American people or people from the UK, whatever. So we have Johannesburg and then we have like KwaZulu-Natal, right? And then there's Durban and whatever. Two different provinces, or as you guys would say, countries or states or whatever. Two different things, right? Obviously, two different states have different vibes, right? But let's just say I grew up in KwaZulu-Natal and I'm a Zulu girl and I am Zulu, right? Everything about me is Zulu. But now I moved to Johannesburg, where the culture is completely different, right, than where I come from. Me as a Gemini Mercury person, you guys also, the Gemini Mercury person, if you were in that situation, you know how to quickly adapt to the Johannesburg environment. And you may really, and obviously you're Gemini, so you're finding interest in everything, because it's like Gemini energy is very young. Think of a young child that doesn't know anything, so they're just like running around the mall and they're just like wanting to explore everything and consume all this information because it's so fun and the world is so freaking immaculate. Bad information and good information, you just want to know that information, right? So you as a Mercury and Gemini person, you know how to, from KwaZulu-Natal to Johannesburg, you still know how to connect with people in KwaZulu. So if you meet people in Johannesburg that are Zulu, you know how to speak to them in Zulu and you know how to make them feel comfortable because you're familiar with that, right? But you're already familiar with that, so you now want to get familiar with every other culture. So now this is when a Mercury and Gemini person starts dating other people from different cultures, or they start dating other people, whatever, you know what I'm saying, just to get more information from that. Or you can get those Mercury and Gemini people that really prefer to just like stick to what's familiar to them, and that's more so if they have like a lot of other Taurus placements, when they feel more comfortable sticking to what they know. But most of the time, the Mercury and Gemini people, regardless of wanting to stick to what they know, they will still make it a point to learn different ways of like lingos. You know, as I said, if you come from, I dated a girl who lived in Kaapstad in Cape Town, and when she came to Jersey, so in Kaapstad in Cape Town, they call cigarettes enchies, right? It's an enchie, all right? I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I know it's an enchie, right? So when she came to Johannesburg and she was hearing people say "skave guai," she was like, "What? What is a guai?" And then obviously we had to explain to her guai is a cigarette. So it's like, oh my god, we call it enchies, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? So if situation was reversed, and if I was from Johannesburg and I call guais, and if I go to Cape Town and I'm calling a guai, people are looking at me like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, it's an enchi. See, because it's different things. But now, because I'm a Gemini Mercury, and then I'm learning more about these things and learning more about different ways of talking and lingos and all of that, you know, then I become familiar with how everybody communicates. And then you start realizing, oh, there's different ways of saying one thing. There's different ways of saying one particular thing. You know what I'm saying? That's the Gemini energy, is understanding that there's so many ways of doing one thing. And there's so many languages, and there's so many sub-languages from those languages. And it's just so interesting to have to familiarize yourself and, you know, reprogram yourself and, you know, shapeshift yourself into understanding these many different ways of thinking. And that's the Gemini energy, is many different ways of thinking. That's it. Mercury and Geminis, they have many different ways of thinking about situations. They have many ways of seeing a perspective. And that's the thing with all air signs, that they are air, right? And think about air. Air is here, it's in China, it's in New York, it's everywhere in the world, you know? Obviously, the air will be different depending on the climate changes and all of that shit. But it's still air, right? And Gemini will represent the different kinds of airs, different ways of thinking, different ways of seeing a situation, different ways of thinking of a situation, different ways of saying one thing. And that's why a lot of Gemini and Mercury people can be seen as fickle, but it's really not. I mean, it is fickle, really. It's fickle thinking, and you're unstable also. That mutability, unstable thinking. Sure, you have good ideas, but like, we only get your good ideas after like you having rambled about so many other things that we didn't care about, and only when you said that one thing in passing, and that one thing was actually a genius thought. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So it's just like, you think of Gemini as just like this hurling information person. And it's like 30 minutes in, I have to stop somewhere. I really could talk about Gemini energy all the fucking time. But anyway, this is where I'm going to stop, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, because I really enjoyed this video. All my Gemini Mercuries, I feel you. I feel you, okay? So in my next video, I'm going to do Mercury and Gemini through the houses. So you should watch that after you watch this video. On my Gemini Mercuries, on my crazy, innovative, genius thinking people that have many different ideas. And you could be an evil bitch, but at the same time be a super nice person. But it all just depends on the mood of the day and all of that shit. You know what I'm saying? I feel you. So yeah, watch that video. After you watch this video that I'm going to post after I post this video, so hopefully you can post right after, because the last time I posted a video, the other one posted 2 days later, and I was just like, oh my god, YouTube, why are you doing this to me? Anyway, guys, it's all love from me on my ends. I had a really good time talking about you guys. And in my next video, as I said, I'm going to do Mercury in Gemini through the houses. Period. Bye.